All right, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Tree House Brewing Company, and they're headquartered in Charlton, Massachusetts, and this is their Very Sappy. So they're calling this one American Double IPA that comes in at 8.2% alcohol by volume. No IBUs. Listen, time of review. This can is just over 5 weeks old. I want to give a huge thanks, shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and a viewer of the channel, Steven, for hooking me up with this one. So big thanks to him for this beer. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies he hooked me up with. And he hooked me up with a can of Tree House, and it's been about 9 months since I have reviewed a hop forward Tree House beer, and I'm here for it. And it's a beer I've never had before. So of their I guess, SAP series, I've only had one beer, and I didn't review it. I actually drank it, I think it was about 6 months before I started my channel, but it is behind me on the pretentious wall of bottles and cans to form the Tree House Rainbow, and I love sap. I was expecting, based on the name, a big, like, piney, woodsy kind of, IPA, and it was, but the thing is, it had, like, a lot of citrus fruit. There was some stone fruit and tropical fruit. It was delicious. I gave it like a 4.5 out of 5 on Untappd. So this is Very Sappy. I won't read the tasting notes that they have on here and the spiel. We'll try to remember to read it at the end. But this does focus, this series in general, on Chinook hops, which is why the name is sap and why you get, resinous pine with this one, or just pine in general. Anyway, let's crack this one open and get into cans, see what we got going on. So just over 5 weeks old, pretty fresh. And yeah, I'm here for it. So again, it's been a while since I've had a Tree House beer, so I'm looking forward to this, to be honest with you. Really looking forward to it. And especially since it's a sap beer that I've not reviewed yet, anything within the series. Like, I'm a treat. Pretty good. Anyway, that has a typical Tree House color, although a little bit darker. It doesn't look oxidized, but it has a really deep, like, put it this way, this looks like an old school American Double IPA if it wasn't hazy. I mean, this is hazy. Like, if you took the haze out of this, it would look like an old school American Double IPA. It has that deep orange color, but it's murky and turbid, so it looks like, New England style. It has about almost a 3-finger of this off-white, almost very lightly, like, orange-colored head. Yeah, some bigger bubbles mixed in with smaller bubbles. Looks kind of soap sudsy but creamy at the same time. You can't see through it. Plays the role. Let's get a nose. So yeah, it smells like an old school beer. There's a ton of citrus. It has orange, all kinds of orange. There's tangerine. There's pink grapefruit. There's a little bit of like a mango peach thing going on. But then there's pine. There's that old school pine. There's a little bit of dankness, but like there's a resinous kind of sappy, dare I say, pun. Dare I say pun? Is that what I just, dare I say pun? Has a sappy kind of nose to it, like a piney, like a pine sap. It smells sweeter at 8.2%. It has like a malt sweetness too, like a bready malt sweetness. Maybe a little bit of like a honey bread kind of malt. There's like a fleshy fruit here too, like a honeydew. Typically when I say fleshy fruits, I mean like creamy fleshy fruits like mango, honeydew melon, cantaloupe, papaya, things of that nature. I'm gonna say more honeydew. It's a little bit sweeter, more melon-esque than anything. This smells awesome. It smells awesome in like an old school kind of way. Like if I was doing this blind and I couldn't see the beer, and let's just say it was like in a glass where you couldn't actually see the appearance, I would think this is just an old school beer, kind of a little sweeter, maybe, yeah, just like an old school beer, honestly. Like an old school American Double IPA. They call American Double IPA. Yeah, it just has that hazy look, so it kind of throws my mind for a loop. Smells good. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again, Steven. I'm glad I said honeydew melon because, wow. The body and mouthfeels of Tree House. Listen, you can say whatever you want. Like, the shit was better back in the day. And then when they moved to Charlton, it took them a while dialed in. Then it was good. Now they have like 8,000 different, they got like 6 different locations at this point. Whatever you want to say about the quality of their beer, their mouthfeels are still something to behold. Like, if you've never experienced a Tree House mouthfeel, it's hard to explain to somebody. Yeah, you can get them with Fines and Hop Butcher and Other Half. And a bunch of other breweries are doing great bodies and mouthfeels with these hazies. Tree House to me is like the OG, like, body and mouthfeel. Like, they fucking nail it more often than not. Its body isn't super thick. It's like medium body, maybe a touch over. But the mouthfeel is so just like inviting. It's soft, it's smooth, it's creamy. And when I mean that, I mean it's very soft on the palate. So it's like mildly carbonated, but you still know it's carbonated. It's not like it's flat or anything. It's just like the mouthfeel is just so like fluffy, airy. Like it's fucking, the mouthfeels are fantastic. There's so many Treehouse beers I drink just because of the mouthfeel, and this would be one of them. But yeah, body's really nice, mouthfeel spectacular. The taste, it's not all that vibrant, it's not all that intense, it's just really good. There's only like a handful of different characteristics I'm getting, but it's done well. So at the tip of the tongue, zesty citrus, orange, grapefruit, you could say white, you could say pink or ruby red. I would say it's like in between. It's not like, I prefer ruby red, but it's not like you took a ruby red grapefruit and sprinkled sugar. It's like you took a white grapefruit and sprinkled sugar, a little bit sweeter. But yeah, there's orange, there's orange, there's grapefruit, whatever you want to call the grapefruit specifically. There's a little bit of tangerine, maybe a touch of, dare I say, a Tangelo, tangerine and grapefruit hybrid. Not as juicy though. It's more of like zesty, slightly candied, but not, I mean, a little bit of juice. Passes through, honeydew hits, and it's a big honeydew. Maybe I could see papaya, I could see cantaloupe, maybe even like an overripened mango. But I'm gonna say honeydew, and then a little bit of like a underripe kind of white peach. Then it continues on, and the backup palate it's pine. It's not overly like pine centric. It's not like I said in the nose, like a sappy kind of pine or like a huge resinous pine. It's not like enveloping the palate, but there is a nice firm kind of pine bitterness on the backup palate. This finishes semi-dry, more of like a approaching moderate bitterness. Is like mild to moderately bitter, more approaching moderate. It's a touch of like a floral aspect to this one as well. It's really good. As I continue to take sips, I'm getting that honeydew melon, and it's just really nice. It's like a perfectly ripened honeydew. It's kind of different, but like in a good way. So I'm really digging this one. 8.2%, no warming in the chest. Starting to feel it as a whole. Like, okay, I know this is double IPA, but like there's no astringency on the palate, nothing in the chest, just like really easy to drink. It's really good. Is it amazing? No. Is it the best beer I've had from Treehouse? Far from it. But for an 8.2% beer called Very Sappy, I'm getting the pine sap. It's not overblown, it's not overly done. I think I'm more surprised. You know what? This is kind of reminiscent to, again, when I've had sap for the first time back, we're going to say about 5.5 years ago. I think I had it like the fall of 2017. You look at the name and you look at it and say Very Sappy. And the first thing comes to mind is, okay, they're going for like pine sap. It's going to be a pine-centric kind of beer. And while it has notes of that, and it's definitely, a prominent tasting note or characteristic in the beer, there's so much other shit going on that's really good and kind of what you didn't expect, at least what I didn't expect. So I really like this beer. It's not my favorite from Treehouse, but it's really good. So Very Sappy from Treehouse. I have no issues whatsoever giving this beer a very, very, well, we're going to give a low 4.25. We'll go 4.2 out of 5. I think that's where this lands. I think without the mouthfeel and that just beautiful honeydew melon note, this would probably be like a high 4, like a 4.1. But I had to get a little bit higher because the mouthfeel is fantastic and that honeydew melon note just kind of resonates with me. Price point and availability, I have no idea. Steven, if you want to chime in what you paid for this one. I'll guess though, usually beers like this are kind of like $20 a 4-pack at their brewery. I would pay $5 for a can of this. And then availability, you got to go to one of the Treehouse locations. I think they have, again, about half dozen at this point. They get no distribution outside of their brewery. So you have to go to one of the locations to pick them up. And a lot of people get their hands on it. And they make so many different beers now. It's kind of crazy. We'll read the end here at the end in case other people, want to shut it off now. But it says, Very Sappy is the ultimate rendition of our Chinook focused family of IPAs here at Treehouse. The name could easily fool you until you dive into the glass. I didn't even read that. Yes, that's 100% accurate. And discover ripe and pungent notes of ruby red grapefruit. Yes. Pulpy orange juice. Sure. And ripe papaya balanced by an oily and firm finish. I wouldn't say oily, but it has a firm finish, and papaya I would replace with honeydew for me personally. I did say papaya though. Like I say, I could see you could, I wouldn't even say misinterpret, but you are going to interpret it kind of differently. So why I say honeydew, maybe you'll say papaya and vice versa, or maybe somebody else will say cantaloupe, but it's kind of that fleshy, kind of just creamy kind of fruit sensation, right? The Sap family is one of our most unique here at Tree House, utilizing old school hops to brew something decidedly new age and wonderful. Yeah, we love it dearly and believe you will as well. Enjoy it with friends and family this holiday season. I'm drinking about myself on YouTube, but with friends out there, right? Whoever watches this. So if you've had Sap or you've had Very Sappy or anything within the Sap family, let me know what your favorite is. Have you had this beer before? What do you think about it? Like, yeah, I think you know what? It's very rare I read something on the back of a can or bottle from the brewery and they just nail it. They nailed it. Like this, like again, the two things that they nailed. The name could easily fool you until you dive into the glass. Yes. And then the other one is utilizing old school hops to produce something decidedly new age and wonderful. Yes. If they're using the Chinook and a bunch of old school hops and you're getting this result, like crazy. In a great way. So again, if you had anything from Tree House within the series, post in the comment section. If you've had this beer specifically, let me know what you thought about. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. Huge thanks to Stephen for this beer, 8.2%. Drinks like a dream. Till the next one. Cheers.